al Padre, y al Hijo, y al Espíritu Santo, como era en el principio, ahora y siempre, por los siglos de los siglos. Amén. A Cristo el Señor, que por nosotros fue tentado y por nosotros murió. Venid, adorémosle. Oh, víctima inmolada, por nuestra redención, de cuyas llagas brotan las aguas del perdón. Con mis frecuentes culpas, mil veces te ofendí. Perdona mis pecados y ten piedad de mí. Oh, cuánto amor respira, abierto corazón, tu muerte fue mi vida, tu cruz mi salvación. Con mis frecuentes culpas, mil veces te ofendí. Perdona mis pecados y ten piedad de mí. Es bueno tocar para tu nombre, oh Altísimo, y proclamar por la mañana tu misericordia. Es bueno dar gracias al Señor y tocar para tu nombre, oh Altísimo, proclamar por la mañana tu misericordia y de noche tu fidelidad, con arpas de 10 cuerdas y laúdes sobre arpegios de cítara. Tus acciones, Señor, son mi alegría y mi júbilo a las obras de tus manos. Qué magníficas son tus obras, Señor, qué profundos tus designios. El ignorante no los entiende, y el necio se da cuenta. Aunque tus caminos como hierba de verdades, florecen en su justicia. Grandes son tus salvaciones. Santo Señor, eres porque tus enemigos no proliferan. Tus malhechores serán dispersados. Por a mí me das la fuerza del vigor. Bendice mi espíritu mi Dios. Mis ojos contemplarán la belleza de Dios. Mis oídos escucharán su gloria. Mis pies contemplarán su misericordia. Saltarán en alegría de júbilo. Cantarán y regocijarán. Celebrarán y alzar voces de júbilo. Establecer y seguirá dando fruto. So I wouldn't want to talk there because they're doing Laud's morning prayer, and the sisters of the Divine, the Word Incarnate, are singing and leading the prayer in Spanish. So forgive me that I didn't talk. I didn't want to interrupt that space, and at the same time I want to be fair to you. So these are the early risers from the Women's Encounter. And there are also some other pilgrims there from other groups that are present in Magdala at the moment. So we have this glorious morning, really glorious, beautiful. You get. So there's a beautiful word today that I think sums up all of the readings we have today, and it is something that I experienced as a farming boy when for some reason a wall would fall, or part of a wall would fall
in the farm, we had lots of stone walls in County Clare, limestone walls, and we learned early how to fix them, how to build them, how to repair them. And a typical word was used, a breach in the wall, because maybe stones slipped, maybe an animal brushed against them, and they maybe weren't properly built, and then they slipped and there was a breach in the wall, and that was a very serious matter. For example, if you had a young crop of grain or a mature crop of grain, if cows were to break in, they would love it, but it would be a disaster for the harvest and the crop, and it could even be bad for the animals if they ate too much food that wasn't proper. Or it could also cause a lot of grievance with the neighbour if it was the neighbour's field where the breach had happened. So there's a beautiful word today, repairer of the breach. Repairer of the breach. What a beautiful title for a human being, to be a repairer of the breach. You know, there are so many breaches, so many things get broken. And obviously it's a serious thing when a wall breaks, but it's a much bigger thing when there's a breach in relationships, a breach in friendships. Right now we're seeing the horrendous spreading of new breaches, new breakdowns of relationships. And to be a repairer of the breach, in this case it's referring to the walls of Jerusalem, but the breaching of friendship, the breaching of relationships is so painful. And to be a repairer of the breach, what an incredible, beautiful thing. And we really can't go out to repair the breaches just because we get the idea. There's a lot of preparation within us, because there's also brokenness within us. And that first reading is touching on that very powerfully. And the type of change of internal attitudes that each of us need to then eventually become a repairer of the breach. To stay away from evil. Because how could we repair breaches if we inflict evil? And then to take note of the needy, of the hungry. To take note of those who are hungry for love, who are hungry for attention. They also need to grow, because one of the things that we learn in life is that we can also live even when we're rejected. And that's the maturity that develops over time, that we don't have to be dependent on the opinion of others. It can wash over us like that water here over this cement base at the bottom of the stairs. And rejection and hurt can also wash over us. It does hurt, but somehow we can reach a maturity where it can become a small thing, even though it is a big thing. It doesn't have to knock us off our balance. And that's great maturity. And then to become a person of that interior justice that wants to restore the breach for so many. What a great way to live. And then we join up with a party. Let's go to a party. All these people are coming to this morning party here. They're walking down here, more and more people. Let's go to a party. And in the party we have all the wrong people. The prostitutes, the tax collectors, the excluded people, the people that aren't cool, the people that are the outsiders, that don't belong, that have been rejected, that have been thrown out. And there's Jesus in their midst. And that's beautiful. Repairer of the breach. Making connections, opening doors for people to come through. One step at a time, little gestures. It can even be the way we look at people, the glance, the gaze, the warmth in the gaze. It can be a helpful deed, it can be a nice word said about somebody. So we can all build breaches and rebuild the breaches. And now also a lot of breaches are being rebuilt through the very fact that we have all these people here. Just imagine the last 2 years, these were empty spaces. And now the pilgrims are returning. And here we have this additional women's encounter this morning with women from various religious backgrounds, and I would say also some women here who are probably agnostic and maybe even atheist, but they have so much goodness in their hearts and they want to encounter the other. And all of that growth, we all grow together. And the blossoms come back on the tree, the leaves will bud again, and the fruit will come. Thank you for joining this morning here. As many breaches are being rebuilt, let's pray for that. I'll do a little selfie moment here for the finish up, and you'll hopefully catch a little one of the antiphons the sisters are singing.